Hey, rough game. Rough game. Rough game. Reality check, as some might call it. Huh. Oh, I forgot to switch up a bunch of stuff here. Hang on a second. Instant reaction. Uno momento. Sorry, I forgot to update a couple of things. I updated everything else that I remembered to besides the title and description. 41 to 10 at the hands of the Ravens. Sorry, hang on a second. Okay. Okay, that's all set. Oh, amateur rookie mistake there. Rookie mistake. Sorry, I got red zone on my TV right there. But alrighty. Rough game, rough week. Definitely a reality check for the now 5-4 Denver Broncos. That was, I don't know, the game started out fine. Like, everything still wasn't going in Denver's favor, but they weren't getting absolutely like crapped on. The defense was kind of scaring me from the get-go there. The defense did not look good today, and that's going to be the first gripe that everyone's going to bring up. The defense did not look good today, and I'm not going to argue with it because that is exactly what I saw as well. So in this stream, show, whatever episode, we will, of course, just get it. We'll get into the nitty gritty of things, just discuss the loss and that sort of thing. Yeah, just a rough game overall for Denver. The offense fell apart after the Sutton touchdown throw, and it just wasn't all there. Denver missed out on some scoring opportunities, which, I mean, in hindsight, would have just made the score a little prettier. It wouldn't have really saved the game per se, but a lot of fourth downs that we missed on. I want to say we were only like 2 for 5, and just some things you can't do. Some penalties. Of course, Humphrey had the drop at the start of the game that really set the tone. Drop that led to a pick. That was bad. That was just outright bad. And man, as soon as that happened, I just kind of had the here we go feeling. Just yeah, like what are we doing, man? What are we doing? But all right, let's get into the numbers game just a little bit. So Denver had 319 total yards to the Ravens 396, had 197 passing yards to the Ravens 269, 122 rush yards to the Ravens 127, average 4.7 yards per play to the Ravens 7.3. Denver was 6 for 14 on third down to the Ravens 3 for 8. They were 2 for 5 on fourth down, as I just alluded to. They allowed 4 sacks. They only punted twice. Granted, a lot of those other fourth downs could have also been punts or field goal attempts. So it is what it is. 9 penalties. The officiating didn't feel the best. If I'm honest, the officiating did not feel great this game. So I don't really know what to say on that front. Obviously, it's stuff you got to clean up. But, there's only so much you can do when the refs are calling the game the way that they were. Anyone watching that is going to know that game was not officiated the best. Offensive numbers, Bo Nix goes 19 to 33 for 223, no touchdowns, a pick, and a reception touchdown. Sutton, obviously 1 for 1, 2 yards the touchdown. Rushing wise, Denver wasn't very good. Javonte still doesn't look good. 12 for 42, 3.5 yards per carry. Bo Nix goes 6 for 36, 6 yards a carry. Estime getting some garbage time and the game work, 5 for 35, 7 yards a carry. McLaughlin goes 5 for 10. Burton goes 2 for -1. Receiving wise, it was Cortland Sutton and then almost nobody else. 7 for 22, should have had a touchdown there in garbage time. Nix just missed the throw, and I'll get into that a bit later. Javonte Williams, 2 for 42. Troy Franklin, 1 for 19. Lil Jordan Humphrey, 2 for 11. Devon Bailey, 2 for 11. McLaughlin, 3 for 10. And then everything else was one catch for 4 or 2 yards. Obviously, Bo Nix with the receiving touchdown on that 2-yard throw. Oh, boy. Boy. I guess we'll also... Ravens offensively. Jackson was just dicing up, man. 16 and 19, 283 scores. Derrick Henry goes 23 for 107, 2 scores. Zay Flowers, Gash, Denver, 5 for 27. He was just... Or 5 for 127, sorry. 2 touchdowns. He was finding open holes all damn game. And then you had Justice Hill with some good catches there as well. But really, I mean, on both sides, it was just kind of like one guy having a really big day. It's just the Ravens put more points on the board. By far. Ravens put by far more points on the board. And it's just an unfortunate game here, really. Denver ran into the buzzsaw. And I had this, I mean, at the start of the year, I had this penciled in. As a loss. After the last couple of weeks, I really thought Denver could have come in here and at least made it close. But that was me drinking the Kool-Aid there. I do have to acknowledge that. This is still a rebuilding team with $70 million dollars in dead cap. So I have to acknowledge that while there is certainly still like some hope here to have like a good year, obviously, I mean, we're outperforming every metric right now by like Vegas and everything. But man, this was just a rough game to watch after the first half. I mean, really, the game ended on that end of half touchdown from Zay Flowers. That ended the game right there, because the energy is a lot different if you're going in with it being a 7-point game, opposed to it being a 2-score game after you just give up a huge touchdown at the end of the half. And I mean, the defense wasn't playing well up to that point anyways, but it got substantially worse. And excuse me. Baltimore could have easily put up more points there, and that is absolutely without a doubt. I really just the bottom fell out here. Denver didn't blitz a whole lot, which has kind of been their whole thing defensively all year, is that they've been a heavy blitzing team. They didn't do that. They didn't get to Jackson when they needed to. They flushed him, but they didn't get to him. I want to say they only had 1 sack on the day. Yeah, they only had the 1 sack on the day, which, who got that? Who got that sack? It was JFM. JFM had the 1 big sack there kind of on the first, second drive, and then after that, defensively, it just all came off the rails. So definitely not good, definitely less than ideal there. But, man, yeah, I mean, this was the game that was kind of like, hey, like, are we for real, or are we still definitely a rebuilding team? We are still definitely a rebuilding team. And I drank a little too much of the Kool-Aid looking at the Ravens. I mean, just ungodly bad pass defense, at least up to this point. But they were a team coming off of, a stupid loss to the Browns. They were going to be hungry, obviously, because that's not really a loss you want to take here. Sorry, glancing up at the TV. We got Red Zone on up there. So yeah, just bad game overall. Offense didn't do anything to help here. I mean, I thought Bo Nix actually looked really good in the first half. Like, outside the pick that wasn't his fault, Bo Nix looked good in that first half. I thought he was making snappy reads. I thought he was doing everything he needed to. He was finding windows. He had a really nice tight window throw to, I want to say it was Troy Franklin, sometime during that first quarter. And then, obviously, you've got, like, the Philly special. I yelled Rocky Mountain special that they ran right there just on the goal line. Nix absolutely mossed a guy. So, yeah, just bad. Just bad. So, I mean, your scoring summary, just pretty straightforward. It's a Henry 7-yard touchdown in the first quarter. Second quarter, you get the Tucker field goal. Bo Nix 2-yard touchdown pass from Cortland Sutton. Flowers touchdown from 7 out. Lutz gets a field goal, and then the 53-yard touchdown from Lamar. there, and then it was just all Ravens from there. Derrick Henry 6-yarder, Patrick Ricard 3-yard touchdown, and then Tucker field goal after they called the dogs off. So yeah, Denver's got a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to fix here going into Kansas City. I mean, you've got to get that defense figured out, and I hope they go into this Kansas City game hungry because they're going to need to shut down Patrick Mahomes. I get that the Chiefs haven't looked good all year and that the offense has not been the same as we've seen before, but you absolutely need to you need to shore this up. I mean, this can't be a constant thing, and I don't know if this is teams just finally getting film on Vance Joseph or if this is just a one-off bad game. You walked in, you got smacked by a superior team since you're still kind of a no-name unit rebuilding. So that'll be something to see. So how oh, sorry. So how do the Broncos rebound against the Chiefs here? We'll go in and look at this matchup. Let's go look at this. So yeah, Denver versus KC. It's another Sunday game, another 11 a.m. kickoff. So if I don't want to use ESPN's rankings right now, but Kansas City does not look like the Kansas City that we've seen. And I think it's a less talented receiver group they're going against. Granted, part of that's been because of injuries. I don't think D-Hop is as good as he used to be. And so, I mean, shut down Mahomes, try to get to him, shut down the receivers, shut down Kelsey. With the depleted Chiefs receiver core, I think Denver's got a real chance to be able to just shut down Kelsey and then kind of focus on everything else. Because, I mean, Kelsey is the number one guy. It's still in that Chiefs offense. I know he hasn't looked like himself this year. But this is still Travis Kelsey we're talking about. Chiefs defense has been sound as well. I guess I will go pull up ESPN here. Just for points of reference, see where we are into this week. But yeah, the Chiefs defense hasn't been the greatest. So they are 5th in yards per game. I go look at passing yards per game. They are kind of bottom half of the league, not super great. Although this is like a crazy year for pass defense, but they're giving up 212 passing yards a game. Running defense is 2nd in the league, so Denver is going to have to find a way to combat that. And then Denver's defensive numbers are going to go all over the place, but they are but KC, as of right now, as I'm doing this 7 games through, they are 5th in points per game. So that's just, I mean, it's another tough matchup, but I think it's more winnable of a matchup. And I mean, Sean Payton's gotten the best of Andy Reid as the Broncos head coach. So it's not like that this isn't a team we've beat before. And I'd argue that we beat a more talented team last year. When we beat Kansas City than we did this year. So, I mean, I think the chance is there. Obviously, I'm going to look a little further into it going into the week and that sort of thing. But yeah, this just all around, this was a bad game. The offense couldn't get moving after the after the first half. And I think Nick's still looked erratic. I still think there's some footwork stuff that needs to get kind of wound out of his game here. He had a couple of overthrows, didn't set his feet on stuff that could have easily been touchdowns. And as we really go into it, I mean, run game's got to be better. Nick's was almost the leading rusher again. He's not getting a lot of support. Granted, didn't run the ball a lot after the first half, just because of how far gone the game was. So when I really look at it, I mean, this is still a rebuilding team. These guys are still $70 million in the cap hole, and this is a team that doesn't have the talent to compete with the big dogs right now. Like, I mean, maybe some of us Kool-Aid drinkers thought. This team is not ready to go punch up for a Super Bowl yet. I think they can be. But if I'm Denver right now, like, what do I do at the deadline? Because, like, you are still within reach for a playoff spot, but at the same time, you have to be able to realize, like, hey, we are not the team that maybe we thought we were. We're not going to punch up the AFC juggernauts and take them down in playoff games. I mean, we'll see how they look against the Chiefs, honestly. But I mean, you look at this receiver room and who's reliable outside of Cortland Sutton. You look at the tight end room, who's even there. You look at the running back room, what kind of talent do I have there? Javonte looks washed. Jaleel McLaughlin is really a situational guy, and I still don't think we know what we have in Audric Estime yet, which could be kind of a point of emphasis next year. So it just becomes this cycle of questions, and then you got to start asking the same about the defense. Like, what's our safety depth? What's our safety depth look like? I mean, Devon Key got cooked, man. Devon Key was getting picked on all damn game, and for good reason. For absolutely good reason. I mean, if you have a guy that's that much of a liability out there in the secondary, like, you have to go after that, and I respect the Ravens for going after him and killing our shit. And then you've got to look like, well, what are we doing with the linebackers? What's the pass rush doing? I mean, I'm not calling this a trap game because Denver knew that they were going in to play a really good game. And really, too, like, I look at the fourth downs that they went for, and I really, really think that he went for those because he didn't trust the defense. And I talked about this before we came into this game, that the Ravens offense was fucking incredible. I mean, they were averaging 200 yards on the ground per game. They actually held the Ravens to a relatively low total. I mean, Lamar Jackson didn't really do any damage with his legs here. Justice Hill was kind of a non-factor, and then Josh Johnson was there. But they sacrificed that for, I mean, getting gashed in the passing game. So, I mean, you got to find a balance. Patrick Mahomes is a dynamic playmaker, just like Lamar Jackson is. Both are extremely good quarterbacks as well. So, I mean, I think you can take some of this film, correct it, and, oh, well, it's either that or you throw the film out. And that might be what Denver opts to do anyways. But the way I look at it right now, this is a rebuilding team at 5-4. Denver can beat bad teams. So that is an improvement because I mean, we look back and we haven't always been able to beat the bad teams or to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. I mean, you look at last year when we lost to New England to pretty much seal our playoff fate. Like, Denver can beat bad teams this year, which I mean, that's something. That's something. I don't think we're fully gonna get to the playoffs like that, only beating bad teams, because I mean that's not how everything is gonna work. But I think this year is gonna be a good foundation going into next year for this team to be able to finally get its legs properly under it. Now, I do think Nix has a ways to go. Like I said earlier, his footwork looked a little shaky in the second half. He overthrew a couple of throws today that he needs to rein in. But, I mean, overall, I think it was an okay game from him. Nothing super great. Cortland, of course, I mean, he puts up another 100-yard week, so that's positive. And then he threw a touchdown pass, too, so that's positive. But outside of that, I mean, there aren't really a whole lot of positives to take away other than, like, okay, Nix looks okay still. Even if we got bodied, there was some stuff, again, like I said, that was completely out of his control. But yeah, I think we're going to leave that there. So whether you watch this after it publishes once the stream ends, or whether you saw this live and just my stats didn't update, whatever. Thank you for watching. I will have a proper upload out probably by Monday. I'm going to look into it. I think we should probably go back to the regular uploads as well as doing something like this. So yeah, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Keep crushing it. Go Broncos, and I'll see ya.